Hello, welcome to crackingmba.com. Today we are going to talk about synonyms. We will talk about the different types of questions on synonyms in the verbal ability section. So let's look at what the different types of questions that come in synonyms. So primarily it's all about identifying what is the option amongst the various options are available which is closest in meaning to what is provided in the sentence. So here let's look at one question is saying which of the following words is closest in meaning or is a synonym of the following word persistence. Okay, so if you look at the options, we need to look at and find the option which is closest in meaning to persistence. So if you look at the options, the first one is fallacious, which means having a false assumption or a mistaken assumption. So it's not the answer. Next one is amicable, meaning kind and friendly. It's not the answer. Third one is sedative, which means inducing sleep, which is not the right answer. And the fourth one is tenacious, which is similar to persistence. Tenacious being having a firm grip or having determination. So the option for D is the closest in meaning to persistence. So in this type of questions, we need to see what is the word being asked and then look at the options for which is the closest in meaning. Okay. So how do you prepare for this section? Primarily, it's about having a very strong vocabulary. Okay. So the first point is on the left says you need to have a very strong vocabulary. So you can read up the Barron's word lists. Typically, this is for GRE, but that helps in your CAT, ZAT, or any other preparation as well. Next is reading up the book called Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. Okay, we will look at that in subsequent slides. And here we can find a wealth of information related to what are the word roots, the compilation of personality types, the word origins, and the types of professions, and many more. The third one is to regularly read newspapers and novels or fiction or anything that you like to read more often and jot down unknown words wherever you encounter. Okay, so we will look at this in more detail in subsequent slides. So the first one, like we said, is reading a Barron's word list. So this is a list of compilation of words for the GRE, but these words are pretty useful for any competitive exam, especially if you're looking at exams like SNAP, where the emphasis on vocabulary is high. Having a very strong vocabulary can immediately land you great marks. In terms of other exams like CAT or ZAT, you may not directly be asked a specific meaning of a word, but having a strong vocabulary always helps you anywhere. For example, in sentence completion, if you are given four choices and if you don't know the meaning of a word in one of the choices, then you're struggling for what could be that correct option. But if you know the meaning of all the four options, then it makes your life easier in selecting the right words, right? So never underestimate the power of strong vocabulary, especially for the verbal section of any competitive exam. It is a one-time preparation, and once you have your vocabulary strong, you're ready for any exam. Okay. So what is the suggestion we have is pretty much to read 15 words every day, right, for 5 days a week, so that you keep Saturday and Sunday for revision. Okay, so if it's like 15 into 5 is 75, and 4 weeks is nearly 300 words a month. So if you're spreading it out across 5 months, it's basically 1500 words in 5 months, which is a very strong vocabulary. And if you're armed with a very strong vocabulary, your life becomes very, very easy in the verbal section. The next thing is to read up Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. So this is a book which is written by Norman Lewis, and here you can find a variety of informations. For example, word roots such as malefactor or maleficence or malice. So you can see that all of them have an origin from the word malus in Latin, which means bad. So typically, if you have malefactor, you can see all of them have something similar, right? So similarly, malefied means having bad intentions. Okay. Similarly, if you see, they will list out certain things like benign or benignant, which are derived from bonus meaning good. Okay. Similarly, just like you have malefied, you have bona fide. Bona fide means having good intentions. Third one is compilation of personality types. So they have a list of all the different types of personalities with a detailed explanation of what each personality means. For example, egoistic, altruistic, introvert, extrovert, and so on. Also, they list out the various professions such as dermatologist, what an ophthalmologist does. So this gives you a firm understanding whenever when you're finding questions related to sentence completion, and you need to know what profession can actually fit a particular sentence or fill the blank. Then this is very very useful. So here again, you need to go chapter by chapter, and chapter by chapter have a specific plan of action and try to complete as many chapters as possible. So let's just look at what a typical example could be which you can benefit from reading this book. So for example, they say which of the words is similar to word outgoing. So if you have an idea, from saying what an egoistic person is, who an introvert is, who an extrovert is, and who an altruistic person is, you can immediately come to the conclusion that an outgoing is nothing but an extrovert. Okay, so that way this book gives you, so reading the Barron's word list gives you a vocabulary, rich vocabulary, but here it's more about grouping a similar type of words which are related to personality types, right? So that ways this book helps you, strengthen your vocabulary even further. Okay, next one is about reading newspapers and novels and jotting down unknown words. So having a regular reading habit is very very important because that gives you familiarity with the word, vocabulary section. So whenever you're reading a newspaper, if you encounter a word which you're not aware of, just find out the meaning and jot down that word and the sentence where it's applied in a separate book. Whatever scrapbook or whatever notebook you have, just put it so that the moment you see the next time you recollect using that sentence. Okay, for example, let's see an example here. We're saying spearhead means to lead an attack or movement. So if I found it in a sentence in one of the new online newspapers, so it says, the meanwhile the JAC leaders asserted the strike was postponed temporarily and vowed to spearhead the agitation for implementation of the dependent employment scheme in a phased manner. So here you know what the meaning of the word is and also how it is applied. So that gives you a better recall. Okay, so this is very important. Prepare a list of all such words and try to revise them at regular intervals by looking at the sentence. So think of the word and see where you can apply it. Okay, that gives you a greater recall. So that's it for now for the synonym section. You can now go ahead and attempt the mock test on our Android app for a revision of your how to understand how strong you are in your vocabulary. Also, we would suggest that you go through the games, the vocabulary based games which we are going to introduce in our online mobile app soon, and hope your vocabulary gets very strong by the time you're attempting any of the competitive exams like GAT, SAT, SNAP, IIFT, or any of the other exams. Thank you.